The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. There's a quote, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Our character, basically, is a composite of our habits. Habit number 1, be proactive. Proactivity means more than taking initiative. It means that as human beings, we are responsible for our own lives. Our behavior is a function of our decisions, not our conditions. It's not what happens to us, but our response to what happens to us that hurts us. Things can hurt us physically or economically and can cause sorrow. But our character, our basic identity, does not have to be hurt at all. What matters most is how we respond to what we experience in life. By working on yourself instead of worrying about the conditions, you are able to influence the conditions. Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Envision your funeral. What would you like your speakers to say about you in your life? What difference would you like to have made in their lives? To begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. It means to know where you're going so that you better understand where you are now, and so that the steps you need to take are always in the right direction. We need to stop searching for a roadmap, the perfect path to our destination, and focus on our compass, our principles that will guide our direction. A personal mission statement based on correct principles becomes a standard for an individual. Once you have that sense of mission, you have the vision and the values which will direct your life. You have the basic direction from which you will set your long and short-term goals. Habit 3. Put first things first. What is the one thing that, if you did it on a regular basis, would make a tremendous positive difference in your personal life? We need to focus on things that are important. Things like building relationships, writing a personal mission statement, long-range planning, and exercising. All those things that we know we need to do, but somehow seldom get around to doing because they aren't urgent. You have to decide what your highest priorities are and have the courage to say no to the other things. And the way you do that is by having a bigger yes burning inside. The enemy of the best is often the good. Remember, private victory precedes public victory. The most important ingredient we put into any relationship is not what we say or what we do, but who we are. Habit 4. Think win-win. Win-win means that agreements or solutions are mutually beneficial, mutually satisfying. With a win-win solution, all parties feel good about the decision and feel committed to the action plan. Win-win sees life as a cooperative, not a competitive arena. Most people tend to think in terms of dichotomies, strong or weak, win or lose. Win-win is based on the paradigm that there's plenty for everyone, that one person's success is not achieved at the expense or the exclusion of the success of others. Win-lose. Most people have been deeply scripted in the win-lose mentality since birth. Most of life is not a competition. We don't have to live each day competing with our spouse, our children, our coworkers, and our friends. Who's winning in a marriage is a ridiculous question. If both people aren't winning, both are losing. So how do we get to win-win? First, see the problem from the other point of view. Second, identify the key issues and concerns. Third, determine what results would constitute a fully acceptable solution. Finally, fourth, identify possible new options to achieve these results. Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Imagine you're not feeling well and at the doctor's. When the doctor comes in, he doesn't ask you any questions or run any tests and prescribes you some medicine. You wouldn't have much confidence in someone who doesn't diagnose before he prescribes. We have a tendency to rush in to fix things up with good advice. But we often fail to take the time to diagnose, to really deeply understand the problem first. Communication is the most important skill in life. You spent years learning how to read and write, years learning how to speak. But what about listening? Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. The key to good judgment is understanding. By judging first, a person will never fully understand. Habit 6. Synergize. Synergy is the whole, is the sum, is greater than the sum of its parts. If you put two pieces of wood together, they will hold much more than the total weight held by each separately. 1 + 1 = 3, or more. Instead of a transaction, it's a transformation. They get what they both really want and build a relationship in the process. When you see only two alternatives, yours and the wrong one, you can look for a synergistic third alternative. Habit 7. Sharpen the saw. Imagine you're in the forest watching a man cut down a tree with a dull saw. You say, well, why don't you take a break for a few minutes and sharpen that saw? I'm sure it'll go a lot faster. The man replies, I don't have time to sharpen the saw. I'm too busy sawing. The single most important investment we can ever make in our life is to invest in ourselves, in the only instrument we have to which we deal with life and to contribute. Sharpening the saw in the first three dimensions, physical, spiritual, mental, is a practice called the daily private victory. Spend 1 hour each day doing it, 1 hour a day for the rest of your life. Your physical health affects your mental health. Your spiritual strength affects your social and emotional strength. As you improve in one dimension, you increase your ability in the other dimensions as well. Your economic security does not lie in your job. It lies in your power to produce, to think, to learn, to create, to adapt. It's not about having wealth. It's having the power to produce wealth. It's intrinsic. You're a transition person, a link between the past and the future, and your own change can affect many, many lives downstream. If this video added value to your life, please share, like, and subscribe.